How's it going, everybody? That's right, it's my voice, which means it's time for another wonderful interview video. Today, I am joined by a very special guest. You have definitely seen their videos on the YouTube. They are a South Park aficionado, so who better to talk about the latest seasons with than everyone's favorite YouTube talent, Blooms? Blooms, how are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm ready to talk about South Park as I do,
That's
generally speaking.
So just as a general, I guess let's call it a baseline. What were your thoughts on the new seasons, because they did that whole 6-7 thing? How did you walk away from the season? What were your thoughts?
So I definitely enjoyed the new season. I know, I know, I know a lot of people are like have been complaining about it because it's also like Donald Trump focused, and obviously I have my issues with that in terms of like I think they did lean into it too hard. But I mean, I didn't hate it as much as like a lot of people seem to hate it. I still think it was a lot better than a season like season 20 or something where it's like just totally like disjointed. I mean, this kind of felt that way a little bit too, but it was I think the episode like or the season was very there were a lot of really good moments in the season, like a lot of highlights in the season. I think the continuity is kind of what made the season feel a little bit worse, in my opinion. Not that it was a bad season. It just like I think the through line of the Donald Trump and Satan plotline just I think they leaned too heavily into that, into like committed to making a continuous story, like a serialized story.
So you think it
And
would
I
be
think
better if
that
it was a little bit more episodic?
yeah, 100%. I think South Park is always at its best when it's when it's just not really serialized. Like I think the best season that did serialization was season 19, where they had like a bit of minor serialization like throughout the season, and then the last like 3 episodes were like more serialized. I think that's kind of the best way that they could do it if they want to do something serialized. But yeah, I think the season overall was good, and I enjoyed it a lot. I think it had some super high highs, and it had some low lows. Overall it was like the first episode is one of the best episodes they've made, in my opinion, in terms of like the context behind it and all the Trump and Paramount stuff.
That was pretty on the nose, but great in the best possible
Yeah,
way.
yeah, I thought that was a great episode. And then like I just think that continuing with it was like a little bit unnecessary in terms of like how much they committed to continuing with that plot line. But I mean, it's Matt and Trey, they do they do what they want to do regardless of what anyone thinks. So
Now I've got to put you in the hot seat on this one. I got two questions back to back. First, what was your favorite episode of the season?
that is a tough question. Honestly, I in terms of like overall context and everything considered, the first episode is hard to beat just because of how like I've never watched South Park and like had my jaw like actually dropped like watching it and be like, oh my god, I can't believe they're doing this. That's how I felt about the first episode of the season. But the actual episode itself was just like a decent episode in terms of like the like if you remove it from all that context, it was just a decent episode. I think my favorite episode, honestly, my favorite episode might have been the Sora episode because it was like mostly just I just love Detective Harris, and like uh him being involved in a story is always hilarious. So I was happy that the police were involved. Also, Turkey Trot was really good. I really liked like the Saudi Arabia stuff. I thought that was hilarious
That
because
was
it's
really
like
good.
that I was saying in the video I made about it that is like a perfect topic for them to cover. Like that is like so South Park for them to cover because it's just like hypocrisy and selling out your morals for money and censorship and all that kind of stuff. That's like the main things that South Park like would make fun of and tear into most of the time. So that episode just felt that felt like a good one as well.
I just hearing
And also
Officer Harris go Totoro just it
yeah,
clenches me every single time.
for sure. I thought that was pretty hilarious. Having them like believe that it was real for some like having them just be like every like boomer on the internet for some reason that cannot for their life tell if something is AI. Like I thought that was pretty funny.
Oh yeah. All right, now I'm gonna put you in the hot seat on this one. What's your least favorite episode of the season? The episode that just did not hit at all.
I want to say I wasn't a huge fan of episode 3 of season 27, which was the one where it was like when Towley and Randy have their like AI weed business, and
Oh,
they're trying to pitch it to the president, and
they go into
they
a
like
K-hole.
yeah, they go. I thought that I did think the episode was funny still, like even talking about it now, you're like reminding me of stuff that is funny in that episode that I liked. But in terms of like the episode as a whole, it just felt like decent compared to the other ones. Like it was just like, it was okay. I did like that. Obviously, that was the supposed end of Tegrity Farms and all that kind of stuff. So it was like big for story purposes, but in terms of like actually watching the episode, there wasn't that much like. I mean, for me, the most important part of a South Park episode is if it's just how funny it is. I mean, it's a comedy show at the end of the day, so I thought that was probably the least funny of the season. But again, I mean, it still was funny. South Park it's really, in my opinion, hard for them to make a truly bad episode, you know. So I think that was probably my least favorite, but it was still pretty good.
Oh yeah, no, like that makes total sense. And then of course I do want to talk about, because with this season, obviously with them going deep into like the Trump presidency and all the horrible things that have been going on, you have this development of Jesus as super Christian now. And then you
Yeah.
get into the season finale / Christmas special, and where you would expect that, I don't want to say like traditional nihilism, but that traditional almost cynicism of Trey Parker and Matt Stone, they kind of circumvent that at the end of the episode and give you that little bit of hope. You know, Stan gets his house back. I mean, what did you take away from the finale? How did you feel about that last episode, sort of bringing that whole adventure together?
To me, it definitely felt like Matt and Trey being like, felt like they were talking directly to the audience in the sense that they were saying like, listen, we know you guys are tired of this pretty much in terms of like the plot lines that we've set up, and we know you kind of just want some return to normalcy to an extent. And I think that they really were willing to finally like lean into that and be like, all right, let's just move on from what we're doing here. We don't like, and I think that was kind of the point with the whole episode being like all about being a crap out and all that kind of stuff, where it's like, who cares? There's no rules. Let's just do whatever we want, because they're willing to finally give up on all these different like plot lines that they've established and just be like, let's just make South Park how we want to make it and make it funny, you know, ideally. At least that's what it feels like. Obviously, only time will tell if that continues, but that's definitely the vibe I got from it. And I do think that that's kind of a statement on, maybe, I think you could argue that's a statement on this, how everything is going right now in general, where it's like, yeah, everything is kind of insane and crazy right now, and it does feel like very nihilistic. But I mean, let's just focus on what we can focus on that like makes it not as bad, maybe, you know?
Yeah, let's focus on what we can do.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's awesome. I always ask this question, just from anyone that covers a certain show. What would you say are the top 3, if you want to get someone into South Park, what episodes would you have them watch?
This is actually a question I think about a lot because I try to get people into South Park pretty often. It's kind of my whole job to an extent. But the first one that comes to mind, that one of my favorite episodes of the entire show, is Aspen, the skiing episode.
Yeah, you got a French fryer pizza.
French fry pizza, yeah, from season 6. That one is just like, I love that episode so much. I think it's a really good introductory point in the sense that it really showcases like Matt and Trey's sense of humor in like one of their like main ways that they try to make comedy is doing like these on the nose parodies of things, where it's like, that's like one of the things that they've totally mastered, is this ability to create a story and like do a parody of like a story, like specific story tropes, without it being like necessarily a direct parody of something specific. Instead, they do a really good job of just like doing trope parodies, I guess.
And yeah, it's we got to save the rec center by doing X and Y.
Yeah, exactly. It's like when I first watched that episode, I hadn't even seen any of the like ski movies specifically that it's referencing or anything, but it's like you still get it regardless, because you know the tropes of like it's just like classic classic tropes. It's like your dad wants to tear down the rec center. You're trying to get the hot girl that, that like only wants to be with like the douchebag skier and like all that kind of stuff. It's like all just classic tropes of like any like kind of sports movie like classic. So it's like that, I think that's one of the best like starting episodes in terms of like what people could watch first. I would say another one. I mean, it's hard to argue against Make Love Not Warcraft because it's like
That's the
arguably the
award-winning
most
one.
popular. Yeah, it's arguably the most popular episode of the show too, in terms of like everyone knows that episode. That's another great episode. And let me think. Number 3. I almost want to say I don't think it would actually be that good of an introductory episode, but I think for someone getting into South Park, Scott Tenorman Must Die is a good episode
Okay.
because it's a really good showcase of like arguably one of the most important aspects of the show, and that's Cartman's like psychopathy, I guess, and his like manipulative abilities and stuff. Although I don't know if that would be the best to start someone with, maybe like a little bit later into them watching the show. Do you have any input? Like, do you have any ideas?
Oh yeah, no, like
episodes you would pick
for like my top 3 of South Park, it would probably be something like, what's the Mongolian one? Is that?
Oh, child abduction isn't funny.
That's it. Child abduction isn't funny. That's one of my absolute
one.
favorites.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
For obvious reasons. Really love. Oh, what's the baseball one? The worst team. The
Losing Edge.
The Losing Edge. I'm sorry. I thought this was America.
Pick. Yeah, that's actually a really good pick because that's like, in my opinion, that's the best Randy episode. I think. Like that's my all-time favorite Randy episode. So
that's when you get Randy being just that crazy drunk like dad and Shining.
Randy. Yeah, I think that's like his perfect episode.
3rd would probably be, like Make Love Not Warcraft is obvious. Like that's such an obvious choice, but it's such a like a gimme. You know what? I'll do Man Bear Pig. Man Bear Pig's another one, like the cave and that sort of mix of commentary while also just being and Cartman ate a bunch of fake gold. What do you mean fake? And just
that's actually a pretty valid pick. I wouldn't have thought of that, but I actually do like that. When you said that, the one I thought of immediately in terms of like some of their best, or not some of their best, but like one of the best ways to introduce someone to how like South Park comments on current social or political events, I would say Goobax is a really good one.
Oh yeah. Especially if you like lived during that time and that was everywhere.
Yeah, and I definitely even think today that's still very relevant, if not arguably more relevant, than it was back then. So I think that would be one of the best ones to introduce someone to kind of like their more like social commentary episodes. That's probably one of the better ones. I think that's good. And then like I obviously love Woodland Critter Christmas, as I have mentioned many times. I think that's, if you like introduce people to their darker sense of humor, then that would be definitely one of the episodes to do it as well.
Yeah, no, those are great. I love that. What is Woodland Critter Christmas your favorite Christmas special?
Oh yeah, by far. That's like that's when I did my ranking video a long time ago, like ranking every episode, that was number 3 like all time for me in episodes. I don't know where it would be now. It would still be easily top 5, I think. But yeah, that's like one of my favorite episodes ever.
Well, right on. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It has been an absolute delight to have you. Any comments, anything you want people to check out?
Just watch my videos, I guess. YouTube Blooms. If you're interested in South Park, I am going to be doing videos on other stuff as well, more often now that the season's over, but still mostly South Park stuff. So if you're interested in it, feel free to check it out.
Well, there you go, guys. Make sure to check out Blooms' content. It's some of the best out there, covering all you need to know about South Park. Thank you guys so much for watching. I've been the Anime Academic, and we'll see you all next time. Goodbye, everybody.